bitterness, resentment, and contempt, emotional rape, hypocrites in marriage. It's not happening rapidly. The most impactful change that you can make, sex dates and sex weekends, and I think this is hot. But many of you need the free podcast, the free community, and an affordable book so that you can get started in your journey. But of course, the books are based off of something much bigger. This book should be 1,000 pages. Kathryn's book. My book should be 800 to 1,000 pages. Bitterness, resentment, and contempt, guys. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. I'm going to get really fucking real with you today. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go exactly where you want this to go yet. I want to first give an example. And I have to say, I'm actually really disappointed in one of our audience members. Okay. What happened was, if you don't know, if you haven't figured it out from the podcast, we're very transparent. We're not afraid to tell you our prices because we don't sell you on the phone. We want you to choose logically to work with us because you understand us, you relate to us, and you know you just want to get there on the fucking private jet and get there as fast as possible. Okay. And you know, then, if you've been listening long enough, in case you haven't, I'm going to say that we have a program for every man or woman. We have basically free, starting with a free community on our app. That's the website.
So that's not basically free. That is
free. Okay. So that is on our app at go.morrowmarriage.com. That's the web link, go.morrowmarriage.com. Okay. And you can have help from people who have read our books, from people who've been through our courses. Our coaches are even there helping you. That's how much we care. Okay. And we did that because we don't like making $4,989 less for you buying Disrupting Divorce, or it's a little bit less or more. I can't remember with Kathryn's white picket fence, behind the white picket fence for her book. We don't like making that, but many of you need the free podcast, the free community, and an affordable book so that you can get started in your journey. But of course, the books are based off of something much bigger. This book should be 1,000 pages. Kathryn's book. My book should be 800 to 1,000 pages. Okay.
I like that mine is longer. Is that because I talk more than you?
Let's flip that around. Yeah. My point is they should be much bigger. We can't give you everything in a book. Okay. Now I'm going to tie this to your bitterness, resentment, and contempt really quite simply, because in our courses, we have different levels. And of course we go up to one-on-one, and people would be on the phone with us all day long if they could.
Sometimes we get people that are pretty darn close.
Yes. And there are times where we've actually done this, where literally our calendars are full. And if there were 48 hours in a day, it would have been full. Okay. But there's not. Okay. And so our time has become massively expensive, if I'm being very transparent. Okay. So one-on-one with us is that time. That's the private jet. You have us in your back pocket, is how I like to describe it. Okay. Here's what happened.
Do I know about this?
I don't know.
Okay.
But here's what happened. I spend all my time organically pushing people to the book and to the app and to the podcast. Okay. Organically means publicly posting all the beautiful content that you guys get to use. Okay.
We send you guys to the free stuff.
Yes, because
unless you ask us for help.
That's right.
Unless you indicate that you need help, and then we have different options.
Yeah, because we're not interested in trying to quote unquote sell you. So we want to help you. I love getting testimonials from people. I got one, a beautiful one. I screenshot it today. I haven't posted on my story yet, but a beautiful one. He's been following TikTok and he's 6 months married. Things went to shit and now things are turning around. And he thanked me for the content.
On
this
TikTok.
Man never even went to my app, never went to the podcast, and never went to the book. He didn't even know. I sent him to that stuff if he wants more support. Why? Because we care. Why is this important? Because your bitterness, your contempt, and your resentment are holding you back from getting what you want. Here's what happened. When I run a Facebook ad or Instagram ad, it goes to the medium or free stuff, which means I lose money making ads for you. Okay. Because most people can't afford much. Okay. Think about that for a second. I lose money to help people because most people can't afford to help you. Now, business-wise, we can make it up on the back end with people who can. Okay. Now, here's the problem. I'm 4 days in or something, maybe a week. I don't know.
On the new ad?
Of the new ad. Okay. And it's geared towards people who make $150,000 because it's geared towards the Ferrari that we sell.
It's geared
not the
towards
Mustang.
the people that need the one-on-one coaching.
Need the one-on-one
not the free
coaching.
community.
That's right. Not the Ford Focus, which you can still get to A to B in the Ford Focus, guys. Okay. But this one podcast listener, I'm very disappointed. He said, I've been listening to your podcast. And I can't believe it. I'm not even going to listen anymore, and I'm not going to bother because you can't help me. Man, I deleted the comment because I don't believe I should enable these guys. But
Mhm.
here's the thing. You haven't been listening to the podcast then because your bitterness, resentment, and contempt prevented you from finding anything free, including my coach who got on the phone with me yesterday and said, I am absolutely loving, this is my head coach, Dennis, absolutely loving helping these men who just didn't have an opportunity before. He's in the app every day, spending more and more time teaching what we teach to men who can't afford it. Like, your bitterness, resentment, and contempt blocks you from ever getting what you need. Here's one more thing before I tie this to your marriage, okay? Then I also had a number of men from the program who've had results, and when prices were lower, okay, but prices didn't raise on the product they used. Prices raised on new products. We went from selling only a Mustang to adding a Ford Focus, to adding the supercharged Mustang, to adding a Ferrari in the showroom.
Mhm.
Okay. And these guys,
That's how business works, by the way,
that
guys.
is exactly how business works. And it allowed us to help more people. In the bitterness and contempt, oh, this is how they did it. I'm thankful for what I got from Cass. I can't believe he would do this to other people. You're obviously not that grateful, and you didn't learn a fucking thing from me because you didn't stat respond. You didn't lead other men, and you didn't even ask the question, which would have been an addition to stat response. So I'm sorry for you. Your marriage will fail soon. You did not fucking follow through because you ain't doing it with me. And if you ain't doing it with me, when I don't even fucking talk to you anymore, then you probably suck with your wife. Let's just get fucking real. Why is this a problem? Because bitterness, resentment, and contempt, it puts you in a fog and you blame other people, including your partner.
Usually exclusively your partner most of the time.
Exclusively. There's no secret contempt is the leading cause of divorce. So if you're in a fog trying to lift yourself up, again, let's tie it back to not knowing who you are and defending yourself, okay? Then all of a sudden, you can't make real decisions. This is like when your toddler gets super angry, is screaming at the top of their lungs, and you're trying to correct them right there. Hey, get it. We make that mistake all the time. That's the hardest one. I mean, I dare say it's harder than your wife or your husband because children are a fucking emotional roller coaster for sure. Okay.
They sure are.
Some of you are gifted. My wife is much more gifted at this than I am, but
I just have a longer fuse,
you have a longer fuse.
but
Is a great way of putting it. Yeah.
I still have a fuse.
Yeah, everybody has a fuse, and you know what? It's good. It's good for them to see that part too. We're going to talk about that coming up in another episode. But like, I want you to understand, if you want more for your life, the moment that you feel resentment, contempt, even just the slightest bitterness, you're going to be acting in a way that's fighting, it's attacking, right? Even if you're defending yourself, guys, that is an attack. If you stop just with defending yourself, don't blame your partner, don't shame your partner. You're not allowing your partner to connect with you because they're going to feel attacked because you're on the defense.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the ad for a second. Every single one of those men not even the men that commented, because thousands of people will see it. They're not ever going to find the book, or you're going to stop listening to a podcast because you feel entitled, because you're resentful, because you don't make money. For 2.5 years, I've been only running ads to the free or the medium. And some of those guys clearly have been following for a long time. How much is this affecting your whole life? Because I'm some fucking stranger who's not taking advantage of people, who's 100% committed to disrupting divorce, who I don't even say I charge money for saving a marriage anymore. I talk about selling freedom.
Freedom.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think this is so important for you guys to understand. If Kathryn and I could have learned that, and I didn't understand contempt until you learned it and did your work. I didn't really get that because I lived in contempt.
He was the definition.
I was the definition.
You open up the dictionary and a picture of Ryan at the time, Cass, was under contempt.
So what we mean is I didn't understand contempt because I lived it day to day. It was the only way of life for me. It was
his normal.
It was my normal. I would use it to fuel blame and pick a fight with everybody, somebody I worked with, the girl I was dating. And when I met Kathryn, I unleashed it all. And I believe that's because I loved you the most. And I know that sounds crazy to you, but what it is what it was because Kathryn was the one I loved the most. I was most afraid of losing her. And because of that, I lashed out more with the bitterness.
Because that made me love him more.
And it did, but that's not how your
No, it
brain.
did not.
This is what my whole point of the whole thing is. This is what your brain does to you. You're like that toddler who's irrational, saying shit you shouldn't say, doing things you shouldn't do, coping in ways that you shouldn't cope, taking steps backwards instead of a step today that moves your tomorrow. These poor fucking men, you know. But hopefully they'll see the like 19 comments from my men in the program who just unleashed the positivity and the growth in their journeys. Hopefully those men will see that, and other men will go there and see that. And by the way, you can help with that. You guys could be sharing this podcast. You're fortunate enough to find our podcast, to find our books. You're fortunate enough to see all the content. People don't even know we exist. Guys, please, 5-star review on the books, 5-star review on the podcast. Share your favorite part of the books. Share your favorite episodes of the podcast, especially if you know someone's struggling with it, guys, because bitterness, resentment, and contempt will lead them to step 2, finding validation from someone else, justification somewhere else to prove why they get to quit, and you're listening because you don't want to quit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys. We love you for your support, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.